And welcome back to the Men's Supa-Liga, the second and final game of the evening. This match is going to be a fascinating one as Stirling Braza take on Furia Futsal Club, two sides who are hovering dangerously close to the relegation zone and cannot afford to lose this game here tonight. Braza enters this match sitting at 9th, and a win tonight would launch them to within just 1 point of the top 6 heading into tomorrow's fixtures, showing how close and tight this futsal season is. They are coming off a strong 7-2 victory last week over the Condors, a result that gave them some sorely needed momentum after a slow start to their season. Furia, they are sitting in 11th on the ladder. A win tonight, though, would lift them up 2 spots, not only jumping Braza, but also giving themselves some breathing room from that relegation zone. They pushed Perth United last week all the way in an 8-5 loss, staying competitive for most of the match before United did pull away late. The last 2 times that these teams met was in the 2024-2025 summer season, and it finished in a dead-even 2-2 draw. So if that match is anything to go by, tonight is going to be a cracking game. As we move now through the starting or the lineups for this game, lining up for Stirling Braza is John Page, number 19 in goals, Joshua Ban, number 11, Finlay Alexander, 3, Struan Burnett, number 6, Raul Pereira, lining up at number 10, Fabio Cordova, 35, Nicholas Canas, 7, Fred Vanin, 9, Wesley Venegas, 16, and Bailey Pilton, number 2, rounding out Braza's lineup for this game here tonight. And that ball just out of the reach of Cordova. And lining up for Furia tonight is Rowan Steed, number 9, Keith G, 30, Danish Tufik, number 19, Anas Mahmood, 18, Sashlan Nadasan, number 3, Charlie Margiotta, number 8, Preston Gilling, number 20, Bastian Rubina, 22. This ball goes long and Steed can't keep it in. Blake Levin, number 28, Ollie Watts, number 50, Christopher Castro, 69, and Benjamin Wojciechowski, number 45. Apologies if there were any mispronunciations, but we're underway here. No goals yet in this one as Braza now move the ball. Here's Cordova. Turnover made, and it'll go into touch. Just a shout out as well, Fabio Cordova playing in this game. Representative from the team of the week from last week, round 10. Had a really strong showing against the Condors in a 7-2 victory. As now here is Cordova, just as I mentioned him, defended tightly by Tafik. Goes all the way back to Ban. Now Burnett. Burnett back to Ban. Long ball to Burnett. And Ban and Burnett combining a number of times here. That ball just behind the intended target. Couldn't find him in the end. That was Bailey Pilton. Just out of his reach. Now Furia bring it back in. Long ball here. Here's Ban. A lot of height on that one. Nadasan clears it with the head, goes into touch. Cordova to retake now. Here's Cordova, uses Ban. Often plays that fixer role in defence. Pilton back to Ban, long ball. No one there. And Braza have been struggling this season to find 3 points in their games, whilst being competitive in a lot of them against some quality opposition as well. Took the Cobras, who in that game were fielding 2 Futsalroo players, former Futsalroo, current and former Futsalroos, in that game, and they took them, really challenged them. They also challenged the Inter-Perth Futsal Club in a really tight affair earlier, but both games couldn't come out of it with any points. Tonight they have a team just below them on the ladder, and they'll be hoping to get the 3 points out of it. Meanwhile, Furia have also had a slow start to their season, but they've really picked up the pace over the last few weeks, even when going down, really challenging some quality teams. And now Braza will bring it in here from touch. Cordova off to Ben. Uses Pilton. Back to Ben. Inboard to Burnett. Can he keep it in? He can. Cleared in goals. Nicely done by the keeper there, Ollie Watts. Here's Ben high and out of the reach of everyone. Long ball, Pilton intercepts. Burnett lets it run straight past him. Now Mahmoud. Tafiq. Steed wearing the captain's armband, as he often does. And that ball doesn't stay in. It'll be a Braza possession. Here is Pilton. Raul Pereira there, one of their star players, had been injured for a lot of the season. So it's good to see him back. And that almost got through to him there. Pilton, Steed. And it'll end up with it back with John Page. Page, probably call him the heart and soul of this Braza team when he does play. Very vocal and passionate. Puts his body on the line. Here's Pereira. Out to Burnett. Ben. Thought about the shot. Decided against it. Pereira. Uses Burnett. Back to Pereira. A very skillful player, as you see there, but Tafiq there up to the task in defence. And there's the ball trying to find Burnett at the back post, but block. And that was made by the newly substituted on Fred Vannon. And now Nadasan off the Steed. Nadasan again. That one gets past Steed. Both teams just feeling each other out early in this game. The Furia, looks like they are missing their standout player for this season, which has been Bakar Zayed. That ball almost gets through to Bannon, who goes down. No foul call. Didn't appear to be a lot of contact. And there's Burnett, defended by about 2 players. Ends up back now with Pereira. Burnett ends up with it almost. Can't get through. Pereira there. And Furia now are on the counter. Take off. Steed's there, gets to him, does very well to beat Vannon. Save there by Page and goals. But it was a nice run there by Furia. That man was Rabina. And that one doesn't get through to Rabina. Now Vanegas on for Braza. There's one of their stars as well. Vannon almost would have definitely been a goal there. But nicely done, goal by Watts. As I was saying before, the loss or the missing of the absence of Bakar Zayed tonight will be very interesting to see if Furia can find the goals that they need. He leads their team with 9 goals for the season, while Anas Mahmoud, who currently on the bench, leads the team in assists with 4 assists for the season. See if Mahmoud can facilitate a couple goals here tonight and continue that good streak he's going on at the moment. Braza have had their goals come through at Wesley Vanegas with 7 this season, and creator Josh Ban continues to guide their build-up play with a team-leading 6 assists. And after last week's performance, Fabio Cordova, as I mentioned, team of the week. So a lot of talent on this Braza lineup. Here's a chance, almost, but Ban there. Rabina almost, but shot straight into the hands of Ban. And now Vanegas. Out to Pereira. Long down the line, Vannon. Vannon inside to a dangerous position, cleared by Steed. Vannon. Now Vanegas. Threatened to go left, then right, then left, then right again, and in the end, it's going to be straight to Furia. And it will be a Nadasan ball, who's a really solid contributor on this Furia team. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and is also strong defensively, very well-drilled futsal player. And that will go straight into touch off the block, and Rabina will take. Here's Bastian Rabina. Nadasan. Good ball, finds Tafik. Can't find Steed. Vanegas though, heavy on that touch. But did well defensively still. Recently, Braza have made a substitution. Looks like they brought on, as that ball may go into touch, and it will in fact. But the substitution was made. It was Finlay Alexander coming on. Looks like just the tape coming off the shin guard or the sock of Rabina. Just getting called up by the ref. Now Finlay Alexander to bring it back into play. Just a bit of discussion going on here. It looks like just a bit of discussion going on now between the referees and the Braza bench. And we're bringing it back into play now. Alexander gives it off. Pereira, Vanegas. Alexander, long ball just behind Pereira. And a flying arm there from Rabina, not called, but Rabina on the counter. Gives it off, chance, Sneed. Page there, gets his helmet knocked off and takes off. And he goes flying, he's out of goals, and Furia might. They just can't. But real instinctive play there by John Page. His helmet came flying off and he took off. And in the end, almost costly. And very fortunate that Furia couldn't make the most of that opportunity, and that one goes high. And here is Page. Long ball, Pereira keeps it in, good use of the chest, but now it's lost. Alexander loses it from behind. Rabina gives it off. Levin, Vanegas. Pressure there put on, and that will be a Vanegas ball. Levin was putting on that pressure. And now Vanegas will take from that far flank, giving it off to Pereira, back to Vanegas and Pereira again. Let's just move the ball between each other a few times. Vanegas uses Alexander. Now Raul Pereira. Might get it back here. I think Vanegas probably should have gone that first time. Decided to hold off. But Alexander through the middle. Vanegas. And Braza do this a lot. They one of the probably higher teams in terms of possessing the ball, probably with the West Coast Cobras, Rockingham, Cambia, Cumbria, and into Perth. And that ball goes through everybody. I think that was Vannon leaving it for Vanegas, and Vanegas was not there. And that appears to have been a yellow card given to the coach of Furia Futsal Club for talking a little bit too much with the referees, I believe. We do see that often, whether it's from the bench or whether it's from coaches, when they do get a bit too chatty with the refs. As now Braza moved the ball through defence. Pereira. Long ball, can you get that through? That will end up with John Page in goals. There's now Canast on for Braza. Gives it off. Here's a chance, and just out of Levin's reach, cleared by Canast. And now Braza take off. Pereira gets it through. Canast there, heavy on the touch though. It was a great ball though. Long ball now from goals from Watts. Chance. It was Rabina on the head and Page there. Vanegas. Alexander. Off to Pereira. Long ball out of everyone's reach. And here it will be Tafik. Gives it off. Chance for Vanegas. Big block by Tafik. Chance for Pereira. Pereira scores. And Braza open the scoring here tonight. And Raul Pereira is a potent attacking weapon. And you'll see that finding the bottom left, I believe it was. And Braza get out to the flying start. And it was. And halfway through this first half of futsal, it's Stirling Braza. Often this year they've gone down early. But exactly the start they were after tonight. Here's Pereira. As now Braza move it through. Here's Pereira again. Can he? He can't. A brilliant play, but just come unstuck at that final moment. Now Canast. Can he get it through 11? Tafik goes back to Nadasan, 11 again. 11 down the line, out of the reach of Mahmoud. And Braza will be back onto this ball. And Braza, defended by Furia, tightly here. Furia not giving them a whole lot of space. They managed to get it to Canast. Pereira through. That move the ball around well. Chance, Burnett! Sean Burnett gets another one for Braza, and Braza have a 2-goal lead. And some of the momentum they brought from that 7-2 victory last week, Stirling Braza has flown through to this game. And 2 goals the lead, as you saw in that replay, hammered into the back of the net by Sean Burnett. It will be another Braza ball, and they've got all the momentum here. Nice little flick to his left from Pereira. Canast, Burnett, back to Pereira. Pereira now goes out wide, uses the outlet. Alexander, Burnett, back to Alexander. As I move the ball now to the other side of the other flank. Pereira, couple feints, still going into the middle. Burnett almost, big save by Watts. And threatening is Struan Burnett, almost with 2 goals in a minute. And the 3rd goal for Braza in about 2 minutes. And now Alexander, pressured. Nadasan there, and as I mentioned, strong defensively again. And it will be a Braza ball. There's a chance there, and Pereira goes down. Foul will be called. And that will be foul number 3 for Furia. None yet for Braza. Pereira now to take. Maybe Pereira. Oh, Alexander is also waiting there potentially to take this. He'll leave it. Pereira now on the right. Can't get it through. Tafik there. Mahmoud on the counter. Pereira gets a boot in. Forcing the side ball. Mahmoud thought about going long. He had an option there, but decides to go back to Tafik. Now to San. Gets it through. Rabina loses it. Canast. Resets to Pereira. And what a start this has been for Stirling Braza. Exactly what they were after. Canast. Alexander. Burnett. Canast again. Pereira now on the far flank. Tries to get it through to Canast, but big block by Tafik. Canast pounces onto it. The former West Coast Cobra gives it off to Burnett. Now Pereira. Venegas on now for Braza. Here's Canast again. Tafik defending. Now Rabina defending. They've solid defensive shape, and you see that there. Tafik did very well, stopping that Pereira run, which is very hard to do. And now it'll be brought back in. Here's Pereira, out to Venegas. Pereira uses Canast. They've got a nice shape here offensively, do Braza, but they just out of the reach on that occasion. That ball hammered away off the head of Alexander. And it'll be brought back in by Mahmoud, as I mentioned earlier, leading the team in assists for the season. He'll bring it back in. What can he facilitate on this occasion? He'll just go back to Tafik. Substitution made on, and it'll be the first minutes of the game for the newly substituted on player. Ball bobbles around a bit. Venegas, Canast, long ball. Will end up in goals with Watts. Here's Rabina. Did well to keep possession there, under a bit of pressure. Now defended by Canast. Back to Mahmoud. Long ball to the target, who does well to get in front. But flying in come about 3 players, and Canast wins out. Now Cordova's back on for Braza. Nice move there by Venegas, and brilliantly gets it to Cordova. He has Canast, but goes to Venegas, and that would have found the back of the net. Big save by Watts. And it will be a Braza possession. Fabio Cordova to bring it back in. Or in fact, it will be a Furia ball. And the rolling foul is given quite late, but given the reminder given by the Braza coach, that ball goes out of the reach and is going to end up with Page. Now Canast. Cordova back to Canast. Just combining a few times here. Now Venegas. Now we're going to touch. Canast. Venegas uses the current player of the week from last round, Cordova. What can he do? Cut him board and try and find Venegas. He does in the end. Dangerous. Canast. Can he get a boot to what he can? But Mahmoud there defensively. But Braza causing some problems for the Furia defense here in this first half. Here's Cordova. Gets it to Venegas. Out wide chance. Almost somehow that goes across the face of goals and isn't finished. But it'll be Cordova. It'll be a Braza possession. Furia really need that next goal. But Braza have them under all sorts of pressure, and that ball just sails wide right. Pilchin was in the vicinity, but couldn't get to it. Long ball now. Good use of the chest. Now out, all the way back to Tafik. Now Mahmoud. Mahmoud across the face of court. And Furia looking to build. Rabina. High ball. Mahmoud. Ball goes into touch almost, but stays in. Cordova gets it out, rolling foul, probably called. Canast getting held as well, no foul called. And now on the counter, Tafik. Pilton. Canast again onto it. Turns it over. Will a foul be called here? It won't be. It'll be a sideline ball, and the rolling will be called. I believe it was Canast who was fouled against, and that will be 4, is it? Or 5 fouls, in fact. So 5 minutes remaining, 5 fouls for Furia, and we all know what that means. They're going to be walking a very, very tight rope over these next 5 minutes. Just a stoppage in play as something has come off. It's like a shin pad on the court. Now Ban uses Cordova. Cordova pressured very well by Rabina. But Page there. Page long. Can he get it to Pilton just out of his reach? Now to Feek. Pilton will bring it back in. Ban out wide. Pilton. Ban again. Long ball by Canast. That's a good one, and Pilton got to it. But it's always going to be challenging to finish that. Timeout will be called. 2-0 is the lead for Stirling Braza. We'll be back in about 1 minute of play, so don't go anywhere. And welcome back with about 5 minutes to go in this first half of futsal in the final game of the evening. Furia looking to overcome a 2-goal deficit. And we saw earlier tonight, the Condors trailed by 2 goals for most of that first half, but ended up winning 6-4 over a highly credentialed Coburn Wolves. So I think we know that it can be done. And now John Page, long ball, trying to find Pereira, ends up in goals. And it'll be Ollie Watts. Now him with a long throw, trying to find Steed, but this one's out of his reach. And Page. Well, here you go long again. This time he'll go short. This is Ban. Ban takes it slow. Almost out of the reach of Knath, but he does well. Cordova. Pereira. Pereira with a shot wide right. Was there a deflection involved? Looks like there may have been. And will be called a Braza corner. Taken by Fabio Cordova. Here's Cordova. Into Pereira. Nice little feint. Still going. Mahmoud with the defense. Does well. Wins it. Steed on the counter. Pereira gets there. Now Canast. 2-on-1. Out wide. Cordova cuts it inboard. Back to Canast. And Canast finishes. And that was such a well-worked goal. And Braza lead by 3 goals now. You could see exactly what was going to happen before it happened, but it doesn't always go that way. They executed the way you'd expect them to. And things are just clicking here tonight for Braza. Canast with that finish. And Furia are in a world of trouble. They need the next goal, and they need it urgently. Here's Mahmoud. Back to Margiotta for, I believe, his first minutes of the game. Nice ball down the line. Brilliant by Tafiq. And in the end, the block made, but did very well to get all the way down the line. Margiotta keeps it in. Now Mahmoud, can he get that through? He can't. Page there. Here is Vannon, who was taking the line down the line just a moment ago. By Tafiq. Goes back to Pereira. Now Ban has a lot of space and he uses it. Takes off. Vannon back to Ban on the right and across the face of goals. Long ball out of the reach of Steed it was. And Pereira right there, and Ban will take. Page will take, giving it off to Ban. There he is, long ball. We've seen a lot of that. The long ball over cooking the kick and ending up going past everyone straight to the keeper from both teams. Margiotta, Mahmoud, and the system right now is really breaking down for Furia. They're not allowed, or they're not being allowed to play the game they want to play by Braza. They've been really strong defensively, and also with their ball movement tonight, have Braza. And you'll see they'll do this all day until they're forced from a bit of pressure from Furia. Ban might go back to Vanegas, or will go down the line and lose it. Margiotta's there. Now Mahmoud through to Steed. Mahmoud, you've got Tafik, go down the line of Vanen again. Vanegas, block in there, and another block. Big save, big tackle there by Vanegas. Handball not called. Mahmoud out wide, he went a bit too late, he had Tafik open, but in the end Vanegas was there. Vanen and Pereira somehow doesn't finish, catches side netting. From this angle it did appear to be going in for a moment, but not to be. Now Mahmoud, that will go into touch. Mahmoud again, gives it to Steed. Steed to Margiotta. Steed now loses control of that one. Substitution made, Alexander on, Pereira off. And it looks like Margiotta will be coming off next for Furia. And Page now from outside of goals. Audacious attempted a pass. And this is brilliant by Tafik, still going, and gets it to Mahmoud, but somehow out of his reach. But what a ball by Tafik, Danish Tafik. Looked like he could have got a boot to that, Mahmoud, but you can't really tell from this angle. Now Pilton. Down the line, goes Alexander. Tafik cleans up, Margiotta, Mahmoud, into the middle, turnover. Alexander now, into Vanen, Vanen gets it! And Braza lead by 4 goals here in this first half of futsal. And really came from nothing. That ball was bobbling around in the middle, and then a turnover right there. And you'll see the nice ball out to Vanen, and Vanen just hammers it into the back of the net. And with 90 seconds remaining in this first half, a bit of a nightmare to start this game for Furia. Steve, though, immediate reply almost, just catches side netting. And Page goes long. It's going to be Furia ball. Here's Rabina, and that's wide. Here's Vanegas. Alexander and Vanegas, and as I mentioned earlier, they will do this all day, especially with a minute to go in the half. I'm sure they'll be very happy to get to the end of this half with a 4-goal lead. Obviously, it'd be nice to make it 5 for them, but 4-goal lead, they would have taken that at the drop of the coin to start this game. Alexander, Burnett does nicely to keep possession here across the face of goals. Vanen, and that's going to be out of the reach of Sean Burnett. And Furia through to Feek have 46 seconds to try and create a bit of hope in this game. Here's G. Still going, and that's going to be last off him, you'd think, and it'll be a Page ball. Page with a long ball, and that'll oversail over everyone. And now this long ball finds the target in Rabina, who loses it. Steed comes flying in brilliantly. Can he finish? He can! And what a moment that is for Furia, finding the bottom left. And Furia absolutely needed that goal before the halftime break. And Keith G, in fact, it was Rowan Steed just deciding to do it himself. And what a captain's goal that is. Vanegas now, down the line. Can Braza get the immediate reply? They can't. And a bit of momentum maybe for Braza, or for Furia. Burnett clears. Vanegas does well, and we've seen a comeback of this magnitude this season. The Condors led 4-0 against the Arkham Eagles a few weeks ago and went down 4-5. So it can happen. I think it was 4-1 at the half as well, so Furia definitely have some hope in this game. Page, long ball, Vannon, Tafiq. Will that do us for the half? I think it will. About a second to go. And that right there is your first half of futsal from Perth Mod Subiaco. 4-1 is the lead for Furia, for Braza. Furia down, they've got a lot of work to do going into this second half. So don't go anywhere, we've got a big second half of futsal to come.
Futsal WA has social futsal competitions 5 nights a week at Mount Lawley and West Perth. Whether you're an individual or have a group of mates who want to play, there's a junior, men's, women's or mixed competition that will suit you. Contact us to get involved in futsal, an action-packed sport and the fastest growing sport in Australia.
Syed! That third restart put a motor straight into him, and Syed, with no hesitation, boots it straight to the back of the net.
Short ball to Toro, brilliant turn, to Toro, big save from Famato, what a Michael! That's a monumental save from Famato. Michael will be wondering how he does another brace.
And welcome back to this second half of futsal here from Perth Mod Subiaco. And a lot of work left to do for Furia Futsal Club, down 4-1. They want to get back into this game. It's going to take something pretty remarkable. But like I did mention, a 4-goal comeback has been done this year, this season, only a few weeks ago. Here's a long ball. And Furia, all of a sudden this game seems to have gone up a notch in intensity. And here's a chance, Steed there. And that'll go. Be a keeper ball, cleared by, I think, Pereira. hammering that one away. And it'll be Tafiq to take. Steed, shot, saved by Page. Hilton can't get to it, and Furia will stay on the ball. Nadasan wants to take. Here's a shot, and Page with the save. Fairly comfortable for him. Nice by Ban, so composed there under pressure. And that ball catches roof, but Josh Ban was under a fair bit of pressure there and so casually just got around his opposition. As now it'll be a Furia ball off that Canas, ball into the roof. Tafiq finds Steed. Steed might go down the line. He does. Pereira there though. Steed and Pereira tussle. Pereira wins it, beats him. I think he went through his legs as well. Still going. And Tafiq with the big slide at the end. Last line of defense. Pereira. Leaves for Josh Ban. Back post. And ball was moving. Here's Steed. Steed gets it to Nadasan. That's going to go straight into touch. And it'll be a Braza ball. Here is Canas. Nice couple hesitations, but dangerously. Not enough on that ball, and Ban just hammers it straight out of the crowd. They're going to need a new ball. And Josh Ban just saw the danger looming and just sent that away. And it'll be now taken by Nadasan. Uses Tafiq. Tafiq finds Steed. Steed now uses his target. Ban there defensively strong. Nadasan onto it again. Tafiq gets there. Moving the ball slowly. Pilton strong on defense. Gets it to Pereira. Pereira now on the counter. He's going to be hard to beat here. Beats Nadasan and almost chips the keeper. And you knew he was going to be hard to beat, and he got straight past Nadasan. He had all the momentum. Did Raul Pereira. And almost beat the keeper as well. We did, but just over the head. And there's a shot by Danish Tafiq, wide right. Page went flying across goals there. Page leaves that one for Ban. Ban. Pereira. Pilton. Back to Pereira. Onto it. Nice touch. Probably a bit too much on it in the end. And it'll be a keeper ball for Ollie Watts. Watts with a long one. Ban strong defensively. Now gets it. Pereira controls it well again, but he's going to get to it. Nadasan, as I mentioned earlier, he was strong on defense. That occasion probably got around him too easily. There did Pereira. Canas comes flying in. And nice catch for the crowd off that ball. But big collision there with two players coming flying in with their boots. There's now Ban. Goes to Pereira. Pereira down. Now Ban. Here's Canas. Uses Pereira. Pereira tries to find Canas. He does. And I think the intended ball was for Pilton. Couldn't get there. Nadasan. Here's a chance, but if that got through Ban, there would have been trouble, but Ban was strong. Up to the task. Pereira. Goes down. Foul called. No complaints. No complaints at all. A yellow given. And Braza have a chance to go up by 4 goals if they can convert an opportunity here. And it just looks like a bit of sweat needs to be cleaned up off the court. So we'll just have a moment break. But there is no doubt about it that Furia are in all sorts of trouble in this game. They do have the most recent goal, but they're going to need something remarkable. They're going to need some Braza mistakes, and they're going to need to play some really clinical futsal. if they are to get back in this one. And Pereira now will take. Here's Ban with a shot, and he finishes it! And that shot seemed to accelerate. The further it got away from Ban, it just took off like a rocket. And Josh Ban, that didn't even seem like much of an opportunity, but he just put his boot into it from half court and just hammered it into the back of the net. What a goal that is. And that right there might be a dagger that will really make it hard now for Furia. Pereira gets a touch on that. That's going to be a Furia ball. He'll be taken from the sideline by Blake Levin. It's going to end up rolling past everyone here, straight to Wesley Venegas. Or in fact, it'll be a Furia ball. This will be taken by Rabina. Rabina has Levin waiting. We might go long to Nadasan. He goes to Levin. Shot blocked. Pereira going, foul called on Rabina. Contact was made. I think contact was really being made for about 15 metres. And when Pereira went down, the foul was called. And it'll now be probably Josh Ban or it's going to be a Braza player here to take to see if this lead can get extended. They won by 5 goals last week, Braza. And they're pushing for that this week again here. If they do have a big win, goal difference is pretty crucial. A 4-goal differential right now puts them equal with the 3 teams that are above them. So if they can get this win, well, in fact, they'll be above, in goal difference, above really the 2 teams that are sitting above them on the ladder, being the Arkham Eagles and the Phoenix Futsal Club. So big chance here, back post, and almost found the back of the net. Still a chance, Cordova will finish. And Braza lead by 5 goals here. And it's really starting to get ugly for Furia. Fabio Cordova with the finish. Just in the end, one of the easier finishes of his career. But with a win tonight, they'll really be only 1 point off of the top 6 and 2 points off of 5th place, Braza. And it's looking like it's going to be a win. Now it's just a matter of making the most of the goal difference, unless something miraculous happened in this second half here. And a bit of discussion coming from the Furia coach here, but it's going to be Vanegas off to Burnett. Burnett still going, Stu and Burnett, and that'll go straight now into the hands of Watts. Long ball by Watts. Can it get to Steed? It can. Steed defended by Cordova. Does well. Gets it coming flying in and catches the post. Still in play. That was Levin with the shot. Levin still. Now Steed. Steed out wide to Rabina. Back to Nadasan. Rabina. Down the line. Cordova strong. Rabina still with it. Nadasan. That's 11. Long ball. Cordova. Play just slows down a tad. After being pretty frantic to start this second half. 2 goals to none in this second half in favour of Stirling Braza. And Nadasan now. 11. Back post. Steed there. Turnover. Vanegas has speed. Gets to it. Cuts it in. That is clinical by Wesley Vanegas, but can't finish. Now Furia on the counter, and now they've got space. Rabina still going. Back post. What a save by Page. Massive save, and that right there, certain back post goal, and you'll see on the replay the passion from Page when he made the save. Absolutely loved it. And here's a shot blocked there by Burnett. And a side ball now to be taken by Steed. Now Nadasan, big block. Nadasan still, and that one's high. And Braza really cruising in this game at the moment. A few chances for Furia. But What a performance it has been for Stirling so far. Page to Vanagas. Still going here. Alexander loses it, wins it back. Now Burnett off to Vanagas. Vanagas, Cordova. Vanagas, Alexander through to Vanagas again. Burnett, Vanagas, Burnett almost. And what a brilliant passing string that was by Braza. In the end, Furia get back and save the day defensively with a last second stop. But what a brilliant bit of play it was. And here's Alexander. And that's going to now be taken by Watts. Long ball. Alexander heads it straight into touch. And Furia will bring it back in. Burnett off. As the substitution is made. Coming on for him is Fred Vannon. Levin with a shot, and that's going to go straight now into the hands of John Page. Here is Page, Vanagas, Cordova, Alexander through the middle, still going, loses it, Steed there. Steed will now take sideline ball. Goes quick, doesn't waste any time, goes to Rabina. Rabina cuts one way, goes the other way, and that's wide right. That one didn't really look likely, but it was a nice few moves to get the shot off in the first place by Rabina. And now Vannon. Fred Vannon still going. Pressured by Nadasan. Steed there still wins it. And now Nadasan. Ball ends up with Furia. Vanagas, now the counter. Vannon. Off he goes, down the line. Big block made. That probably would have found Pilton that ball. But the block made by Rabina. Vannon. Rabina there. Can he keep this one in? He can't. Vannon lets that go out. We end up blocking it and sending it out, in fact. Steed now. Rabina. Gives it off. Newly substituted on for Fury for his first minutes of the game is Benjamin Wojciechowicz. I haven't seen him so far this season, so it's good to see some new blood out on the court. Here is Vanagas. And they've been doing this a bit, Braza. Moving the ball in that defensive half well. Here's a turnover though, just as I say that. Steed gets rid of it, back post. Somehow Page gets to that one again, and a big save. Looks like last off him, much to his disappointment, it will be a Furia corner. There's Levin, turned it over. Hilton takes off. Foul might be given, rolling foul given, and it'll be called now. But nice work by Furia, getting back defensively. John Page still egregious at that call. Being awarded the corner there with Furia. He's saying it could not have possibly been off him. Now Pilton will bring it back in. "13 minutes and just over remaining. Here's a shot by Vannon. That one goes straight into the defender, and Ban will now take the corner. Off to Vannon. Ban. Vanagas cuts to his outside right. Will he shoot? He will lose it, and it'll be a Furia possession. And here you go Furia, 11. Tafiq, long ball out behind Vanagas, also behind Wojciechowicz. Now Pilton, Vanagas, Ban can take off, has acres of space, and he uses it. Still going Ban. Now Pilton. Pilton back to Vanagas. Shot blocked by Levan, and that will go off the roof. And it'll be Vanagas's ball. And this possession play that Braza are playing will really work into their favour, especially with such a big lead. Can just run a bit of clock off. Ban. Here's a chance. Vanegas. What a goal that would have been. But couldn't get the flick over. And find that left corner. But nice attempt there by Wesley Vanegas. The ball came to him from Vannon. Now Steed. Steed cuts the middle of two defenders. Goes out wide now to Watchowitz, who can't get to it. And Braza will retake. Ban to Vanegas. Vanegas through to Vannon. Back to Vanegas. And now to be Joshua Ban. Nice ball to Vannon. And I think he tried to find Vanegas, but he wasn't quite there in time. Nice idea though. Here's a long ball. Vanegas should clear, or he tried to flick it back to Ban. Handball called. And it'll be Braza's possession. Here's Ban. Pilton. Vanegas. Now Long. Finding Vannon. Can't get it to Pilton. Nicely done by Tafik. Can he get around Vannon? Vannon does brilliantly. So strong there. Not allowing Tafik. And he gets it to Vanegas. Now Pilton. And Vanegas just not there in time. But Braza are all over Furia at the moment. And that is 5 fouls now for Furia, which is only going to make matters worse for them. Here's a long ball, bit of holding from Ban, and the holding will be called. And a bit of frustration now between the two teams. And that is the foul called. And just a word between referee Tina Campos and Joshua Ban. It'll be Steed here. Can Fury get one back and maybe start something? Well, not this time. Maybe still. And they can! And that is an unbelievable bullet finish. 11.5 minutes to go, and that's exactly what they needed. And Fury are now down by 4 goals. And just as he showed some frustration with Josh Ban, John Page is now down and injured. So hopefully all is okay. And just a bit of a stoppage in play as Joshua Ban just getting checked. Hopefully all, John Page just getting checked. Hopefully all is okay. But what a goal that was. Preston Gilling, just after he had had a bit of an encounter with Ban, just came out and targeted that energy into hammering it into the back of the net. And Page looks to be okay. And now, a bit of momentum for Furia. 4 goals in 11.5 minutes is a big ask, very tough ask, but it is a chance. You just never know. Now Vanegas. Ban, and Furia really need to press. They can't let Braza just waste a bit of clock here. They want to be able to have as much time as possible to really give themselves a chance on offense in attack. Ban to Pereira. Pereira tried to go down the line. Here's a turnover. Steed got a man at the back post, and almost Wachowski probably should have hammered it on first time. And a yellow given now, I believe, to Ban, to Page, who might have been a bit too aggressive in his celebrating there. And this game is getting quite heated. Here's a chance for Gilling, and that one's wide left. See, just a word there between Ben and the referee. I think Paige and the referee, so I've said that a few times, but Paige just asking, I think his celebration cost him a yellow. He was just asking, what way do you want me to face? Because I believe it was in the face of one of the Furia players, which resulted in the yellow. Here's a chance, and that's wide left. But a big, big save by John Page on that occasion. Now Gilling, all the way back to Tafiq. Almost lost by Gilling, it is lost. Pereira goes down, and needless to say as well that Furia will want to remember that they are on 5 fouls. They cannot afford another foul, and there's a lot of futsal left to be played. Tafiq, couple moves. Can he get it through? He can't. Pilton there, up to the task in defence. Here's a chance. Gilling loses it. Pereira on the counter, off the Vanegas, and big foot in there from Rowan Steed. A crucial, crucial boot in, because Vanegas was there and he was ready to strike. Here's Pilton, and now the 5th man has come out for Braza despite the 4-goal lead. It's a very interesting tactic. I suppose they feel fairly comfortable in this game. Can test out a few things. Here is Ban. Now they're under pressure. Pereira, and immediately the 5th man pays off. Raul Pereira gets a 7th goal for Braza, and this is the exact scoreline that they won by last week against the Condors. Did Stirling Braza 7-2. But you have this feeling that there's a lot more futsal to come in this game, and it could get a lot more, especially if the 5th man is continued. And that's a devastating goal for Furia, because they definitely had a bit of momentum and they almost got within 3 goals. They almost got 2 goals in a minute, if not for that John Page save. And that is why they played 5th, to stop the momentum. And it's exactly what ended up happening. Even if they hadn't scored a goal with that 5th man, it really would have stopped the attacking forays that Furia were playing, and just forced them to defend for a bit longer, also running a bit of time off the clock. Here's a long ball. Vanegas there. He can finish, and he doesn't. Big save by Watts. And the 5th man comes out again, and it looks like maybe goal difference is also being discussed. Have they seen that Furia are struggling defending this 5th man, but also defending in general tonight, and they can really hammer down on this goal difference game? Here's Pereira. Under a bit of pressure here, but taking a lot of time off the clock, which is what Braza want to do. Alexander, Vanegas. Alexander can take off now. He's got a whole ton of space. Gets it to Ban. Ban can just have a shot, or go to the back post. Pilton, not quite. Uses Pereira. Now Ban again, and they can just reset. And this is going to result in a lot of time going off the clock very, very quickly. Vanegas tries to get to the back post, can't. Now a chance. No keeper in goals. The keeper is Josh Ban. And Vanegas, last line of defence, brilliant. And he will just take off. Can Furia get back on defence? They can. Now Pereira. 2 to beat. Can't. Nicely done by Tafiq. And this is what they will happily do all evening long. Josh Ban into Vanegas, back to Ban, probably going to go to Alexander, he does. Alexander back to Ban. Taking a whole lot of time for the clock. He can go to Pereira or Vanegas, who will now go to Pereira, will he? He will. Defended by Rabina. Can they get it through? Tafiq defending tightly. Pereira. And now a bit of pressure put on Vanegas. Through, chance, just heavy on that Alexander touch. Long ball, will this go in? It doesn't. I thought it wasn't a bad attempt there by Watts, but just too much on it. Burnett on, Pilton off for Braza. And it looks like a bit of a break. Is it in the fifth man? They bring it straight back out. There's Pereira. Controls it well, and he's been such... It cannot be a coincidence that the return of Raul Pereira has led to what looks like now 2 Braza wins in a row, as well as a very competitive performance against the West Coast Cobras, as I mentioned, fielding a very strong team that week. Here is Burnett, Ban, Cordova. Now Ban, back. Now Ban will get it from Burnett. Burnett finds Cordova. Vanegas through, and Pereira almost got a boot to it. But opportunities galore in this fifth man play from Braza. Now through the middle, Rabina has Cordova almost stumbling. Mahmoud there. Burnett defensively strong, and that will be a Braza possession for Struan Burnett. Vanegas, Burnett, Vanegas. Gets it through, but Pereira, too much on it. He could have almost left it for Cordova. Now Burnett, here's a chance, 2-on-2, but they get back defensively. Cordova, Pereira. Off to Vanegas, and they'll reset through Cordova. Dangerous. Nice little back flick by Vanegas. Unbelievable. Pereira, back post, but nice put in there by Tafiq. Tafiq now through the middle, Pereira. And this game is not slowing down. We might now, but it's been back and forth for the last couple minutes as the fifth man, Josh Ban, is brought back on. Here's Pereira. Cordova, Ban, Vanegas to Burnett. Canast out wide to Ban. Inboard, and they're dangerous because Mahmoud almost had that. Can they get back post? They can. And somehow Cordova can't get anything on it. Just got the outside of his boot, and that was not enough as the timeout is called by Furia, trying to get something going. You'd think it's going to be too much to ask for, but at least just to get a few goals back into this game. We'll find out if they can do after this short break. And we are back for the final stanza of this evening of futsal. 7-2 the lead for Braza, which, as I mentioned, is the exact score that they had last week. Will it be a double, or will they score more? Will Furia work themselves back into this game? Here is Steed to Nadasan. Nadasan to Mahmoud. Nice tackle there by Canast. Cordova pounces onto that, intercept. And that's too much on it. Is it for Burnett? It is. It'll be taken by Watts. Long ball by Watts. Head on it by Canast. Now Burnett. Cut inside. Shot blocked by Nadasan. Cordova to take. Ban to Pereira. Nice little move. And a good ball. Finding Canast. Heavy touch though. Allowing Nadasan to get there. Watts. Long ball. Finding Gilling, and that ball's hammered into the crowd. by Burnett. Gilling still there though. Good ball. Steve can finish and almost Josh Ban on the line. No keeper in goals, but somehow manages to clear that one. Here is Gilling for Furia. Shot by Steed, blocked by Canast. Mahmood off the Steed. Turnover from Gilling. Now Cordova. Canast can take off. Decides to go back, or he goes through the middle dangerously, loses it. Wins it back though, Canast. 2-on-1. Raul Pereira finishes it. And Braza with an 8-2 lead. And there's the danger of turning the ball over in the middle of the court. And that led to a 2-on-1. And that was always going to be finished there. Canast winning it back. Nice little ball outside of his boot, finding Pereira, and a bottom left, as you see there, on that instant replay. 5 minutes and just under. And it looks like a card given. So it looks like a red card has been given to Sashlan Nadasan for, I think, referee abuse, and that will be him gone for the evening and 2 games to follow. And I believe it was said, obviously, just after that goal from Pereira. Pereira, Cordova, now Pereira again, and Cordova again. Chance for Ban. Can they make it 9? Canast. Pereira can't keep it in. And this game is all but over. It's all now just about pride for Furia and about goal difference for both. Gilling loses it. Ban to Canast. Canast has a man. Pereira, similar spot. Nice cut inside, beats Gilling. Chance, what a goal! Nicholas Canast, and that might be one of the assists of the season, if that is a thing. But Pereira cut it back in board and had Gilling sent into another dimension and gives it off beautifully. And Raul Pereira directly responsible there for 2 goals in about 30 seconds. And you do admire the hustle from Gilling getting back. One of the only ones there to get back. He came flying in, but Pereira just too strong there. Here's Pereira again, still going. Now Ban. Ban resets. It's now 9-2, and this is becoming really not what Furia wanted. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on them for the rest of it. What a goal almost by Pereira. Putting on a clinic at the moment. But this ball gets to Mahmood. High ball. Canast. Ban. Back to Canast. It's all clicking for Braza. Look at this. Most of what they're doing is working. And that one will be a Furia ball. But this is going to put so much pressure on Furia. With the Condors winning tonight, Condors will be equal with Furia. And coming into the evening, they had a 9-goal difference advantage, Furia, but losing by 7, and Condors winning by 2. They are now exactly equal bottom with the Condors. So another goal from Braza would put them last on the ladder. So the next 3 minutes does mean a lot for Furia as well, with that last place being that auto relegation zone. And the Condors upset tonight. It's now put all sorts of pressure on Furia. You would not have expected them to be here after playing finals in recent seasons. Ban smacks that, almost puts a hole in the roof. 3 minutes to go. And now Furia look to get one back. A goal would take them off last on the ladder, and it'll put them second last on goal difference. So I'm sure they wouldn't be aware of that, but you always want to keep on fighting. Now Page, long ball, turns it over. Here's Mahmood. Can he get it through? A little bit behind Gilling there. He needed to put it in front of him. Here's Hilton gets it through, chance, and it's another one. And that is the goal. Fred Vannon, that is the goal that will move the Condors up to 11th for now. For the first time in quite a while. So if there are any of them watching on the stream, they'd be very happy with that. You would not have expected 10-2. I came in thinking this was going to be a close one. It was 2-2 the last time these two teams came head to head. But it's been a pretty disappointing performance by Furia and almost another turnover. But here's a chance. Margiotta on the counter. Chance. On comes the coach. Castro is on. He's had enough. Margiotta. And that ball goes into touch. But Castro has seen enough and come flying on to try and turn things around for Furia. And here's Ban. Now Castro. And that will go into touch. Almost. Hilton keeps it in. Down goes Vannon. Foul called. And is that 6 fouls? I believe it is. And that's going to be a 10-metre penalty for Stirling Braza. Vannon to take. A bit of words with Margiotta and Vannon. And it's getting very, very heated here at Subiaco. They need to be taken here by Fred Vannon. And this is getting a little bit out of hand for Furia now. Against a team you would have expected them to compete with, but Braza have just been so impressive as well. So all credit does go to them. They've been clinical and they've been waiting for a performance like this all season. Last week was the start. This week is the continuation. Here's Vannon with a shot. Big save. Big save by Ollie Watts. Couldn't finish there, Vannon. Vannon now to Ban. Vanagas takes it on, and in comes Castro. He's the fresh man. He hasn't obviously come on. He'd have a lot of energy. 2 minutes to go in this game. Vanagas, long ball to Pilton. Pilton tries to chip Rabina, can't. Vannon involved there, just cleared by Rabina. Now Vanagas to Ban. Fifth man still being implemented, this time Burnett in the fifth man kit. But all the way back to Ban. Under 2 minutes to go. Through the legs of Margiotta. In comes Castro though strongly. Controlling the ball well. Goes back to goals. This goes all the way through. Finding Burnett. Burnett, Hilton. Vanagas. Gets it through. Here's Vannon. Attempt on the tackle there by Castro. Ended up doing well. They'll win it back. Now Vanagas tries to cut it back. Here's a turnover. Chance. Big block by Ban. Here's Castro. And it might go in. Almost. And that one was so close to it, almost deflecting in. And now Castro gives it off. Wachowski still going. And now Page comfortable with that one. Gets it through to Pilton. Pilton on it. That'll go in. What a goal. Chips the keeper. And that is now 11 goals for Braza in this game. 11-2. And that is brilliant by Bailey Pilton. In the exact same spot when Emanuele Vicari got a goal of the round not too long ago. And that one, so well done. And Ollie Watts has had a tough day at the office. You can't really blame him. It has been challenging. A lot of shots coming his way and a lot of defence played by Furia. And this will be brought back into play now by Page. 46 seconds remaining in this evening of futsal. Ban across the face, Cordova. Can he get around Margiotta? He can't, but Vanegas comes and cleans up. Now Ban across the goals. Gives it off to Pilson. Can he keep it in? He can, but that might not stay in. Or it does, in fact. Now it's a Furia ball. 27 seconds to go. Castro gives it off. Urbina. Chance. Block. Page. Page to Vanegas. Through the middle, Cordova. Back to Ban. Now Cordova has space if he keeps it in. He does keep it in. Now Pilson works himself back onto that ball. Ban gets it through to Vanegas. Can't get it back to Ban, but it will be a Braza possession from touch. Here's Page. Can Page trouble the scorers? And that'll do it. And 11-2 is the victory for Stirling Braza over Furia here tonight. It's been really clinical, and you don't see double-figure scores too often in such a high-quality league, especially from teams down the lower end of the ladder. So Braza will be ecstatic, and Furia have a whole lot of work to do going into next week, their final game of the 2025 calendar year. As we get the stats up on the screen, Braza leading in the passing game, as well as controlling possession comfortably, as you would have seen on your screen. But total shot count was fairly even, but at the end of the day, it was the opportunities that Braza were creating, and it was really masterful play on offense to get it through the past Watson goals. And thank you for watching. Big win by Braza. We will be back with you tomorrow night, so join us again tomorrow. Have a good night.